Thanks for joining me again for another Woolly Wednesday quarantine cast. Who knows how long we're going to get to do this fun stuff. But today I'm going to attempt a demo. Well, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully better than the other ones I did. First of all, we're going to have a drawing again. So if you are watching this live and you want to comment during the video, or you can even comment later to the end of the day, you can get entered in the drawing then. So the drawing is for one 6-pack bundle. This is my Rowdy Red 6-pack bundle. And one skein of my coordinating Rowdy Red wool thread, hand-dyed wool thread, variegated. And the 6-pack bundle has 6 different pieces of red wool, all about 7 by 7.5 inches. So, and with this bundle, you can make yourself the show some love heart hanger. So this is the project I'm going to work on today for the demo, and it's this little heart hanger that I made, and my husband, a retired elementary school teacher, suggested I do something that kids can make also. So this is pretty easy, and you can decorate the hearts any way you want. I decorated them on each side so that you can hang it in a window and enjoy it from the inside and the outside. Or you can make some for your neighbors or family, or whoever you like well enough to make one for. So that's the drawing, the 6-pack bundle. So to get started, I'm going to show you how I do wool applique. And lots of people do wool applique differently, but this is the way I do it. I like to take some shortcuts, and if you don't like the way I do it some other way. But I'm just going to show you my little tricks. So to start with, I like to use freezer paper. So this is a package of the Quilters freezer paper sheets, and I know it's backwards, but I can't flip around my Android phone. The picture is just going to be backwards. But they're on my website, and I will post a still picture after this is done so that you can look at it right way. Or maybe you can read backwards. So the freezer paper also comes in a big roll in your grocery store, and just in the aisle where the plastic wrap is and wax paper, those things. Freezer paper. So I don't know if anybody still uses it. Hi, Mom. My mom's watching. I don't know if anybody still uses it for wrapping stuff to put in the freezer. Everybody I know uses it for their applique. So the freezer paper sheets, I like to buy the sheets because then I can feed them through my printer. And if you're not designing your own pattern like I am, you can scan a pattern if you have a scanner, and then print the template sheets out onto the freezer paper. So the freezer paper, if you haven't worked from it before, has 2 sides, and one is shiny. See the shiny side, and one is just flat like paper. So what you're going to do is you're going to take, I just have a scrap here. So you're going to take your scrap or your piece of freezer paper, and keeping the matte side, like the paper side, up, put it down on top of your template that you're tracing. So whatever it is that you're going to trace. So I'm just going to trace a heart quick here. See if I'm in the screen and you can see what I'm doing. And after you get it traced, then we're just going to cut it out. And we're cutting on paper, so you just don't use your good scissors, just use some paper scissors. And as you see, I am not cutting out on the line. Cutting out outside the line. And we're just going to take a little scrap of wool, and I'm going to give it a quick little press here first. And then you take your little template that you've made, and this is the side with the paper side. You can see the line where I cut out around, And this is the shiny side that will stick when we iron it. It's like magic. So we'll take our little template, shiny side down. We see the line, it's on the top, and we're going to give it a little press. And you don't have to use steam, it's just quicker if I use my steam. Now we've got our template all ready to go and to be cut out, and it's ironed onto our wool. Now again, you can use any scissors for this, but again, I don't use my good scissors. So you can just, because we're actually cutting on the paper, you see? You've got paper there, and now you're going to go and cut out around the line. Now it's boring to watch me cut out a heart, so I'm not going to do that. Here, I've got one all cut out for you. So you're just going to cut out all the way around on the line. Actually, if you cut out just inside the line, it's more accurate. If you cut out your applique shapes leaving the line, then your pieces get a little bigger. And if you're doing a pattern where everything you want it to fit together, your pieces might end up a little bigger than intended by the designer if you don't cut removing the line also. So after you get that all cut out, then you can just pull this freezer paper template away, and you can reuse it. So you can't reuse it with wool as many times as you can with cotton, because it leaves a little fuzzy behind, and so then it just doesn't stick as many times. But I reuse them 4 or 5 times. That works great. You just iron it again on a new piece just like before. Now, the thing that I like to do next, I have 2 little hearts here, a bigger heart and a little heart. I don't quite have that pattern. No, it's ready to go. So it's on the website too. If you look at the first page of my website, I show the featured things that we're doing this week. So you can see the pattern to make the heart hanger. Excuse me. Fell on the floor and I lost my hook. The pattern to make the heart hanger and the other supplies that you need to make this project. I used, put this in the picture here, I'm using chenille needles, which is my preferred needle for just about all the different threads I use. And I used my Rowdy Red wool thread. And I used my Pigpen pink wool thread. I used some white pearl cotton, a pink variegated pearl cotton, and a red pearl cotton. You can use whatever threads you have or whatever you want to use, but that's what I use for this. Okay, so now we get our shapes all ready to go, and instead of using pins, because thread gets caught on the pins and it's so annoying, I like to use the stapler. So I have this, it's just a standard size office stapler. Sometimes I travel with a smaller stapler, but that's not always big enough to get into spaces if you're working on something bigger. But for these little hearts, it's pretty easy. So you lay them where you want them. If it's a bigger thing and I need it to stay in place, I might put some pins in just to hold it in place while I staple it. But then I staple it just like you would staple anything. You can staple it as few times or as many times as you want. Try to staple where you're not going to be stitching so it's not in the way. But stapling is great. The threads don't get caught on it, and they're so easy to remove, and they don't leave any holes behind in the wool like they do with cotton. Okay, I'm just going to show you a couple different stitches that I might use. We're going to do a blanket stitch, and we're going to do just a slip stitch. So to tie your knot, the way I like to do this is just wrap it around my finger a couple times, and then just roll it and pull, then it'll make me a nice little knot. And to do my blanket stitch, let's see if we can do this with my little setup. I'm going to come up first in the background, see, not through the little heart, just in the background of the big heart, and pull that up, and then I'm going to do it down here. Hopefully you can see. And then into the little heart, or the shape that you're going to applique down. Pull till you have a loop, put your needle in that loop, and then pull it taut. And I generally like to do my stitches about a 1/4 inch apart, so then we're just going to, oh, bonjour Isabel! That's all the French I know, so sorry. Then we're going to take another stitch about a 1/4 inch apart, maybe a 1/4 inch in, down into the background, and come back up into the little heart that we're appliquing down. Pull till we have a loop, thread into the loop, and pull it taut again. So Susan, if you're watching, I'm doing this for you so that you can learn how to do this. We're just going to continue this stitch another 1/4 inch or so, thread down into the background, see if anybody's asking me any questions, and take another stitch and bring it up till we pull a little loop, needle down into the loop, and pull it taut. We're just going to continue doing this all the way around to stitch our little heart down. And if you want to do something faster and you don't really care how bonjour, thank you. I'm going to try to learn some French. We might not see each other for a long time now with this virus and all of our shows getting canceled, so maybe by the next time I see you, I'll learn more than bonjour and Okay, back to stitching. You can also just do a slip stitch. And I'm going to try this with some pink thread. Maybe it'll contrast and it will show more so you can see what I'm doing. And this is so much easier and so much faster. Again, I come up in the bottom, from the bottom into my background thread, and take a little stitch. And then we're just going to take a little stitch. Instead of doing the loop and catching it through, we're just going to take a tiny little stitch. And normally you would match your thread and it wouldn't show so much. But here, if you just take this little down into the background and come back up into the top heart, I've got all this stuff in the way. Then you catch it just a little bit like that. And especially if you're going to do some embroidery stitches over it, it's not going to matter, and it's a lot faster. And if your thread matches, it's not going to matter either. All right, so that's just some basic ways to stitch down all of the different shapes. I'll show you what I did on my little hanger. So on this top one, I stitched down a little heart. I have 4 sizes of heart templates in the pattern. So here's the biggest heart, and the medium, and the small one, and then there's the littlest one. So I appliqued a heart down, and then I embellished with a couple buttons. And here I did 3 layers of hearts, and I did a little lazy daisy flower. Doesn't take, you can decorate them however you want. This one again, I did that medium-sized heart and a smaller heart. Isabel says she's got a bunch at home. I bet you do. Get busy, girl. You could make these for everybody. And some more buttons on there. This one I put on a smaller heart. I did just a bunch of French knots all the way around the outside of the heart, and then just some cute little pink Lazy Daisy flowers. And we did that Lazy Daisy a couple weeks ago. Well, Teresa says she's never worked with wool thread. My wool thread is very soft, and it goes around a curve a lot better than pearl cotton does. I use the pearl cotton, like these French knots, to get bigger ones that you want to show up more. I'll use the pearl cotton for that, or for some of the embroidery stitches. But for the applique, I use all wool thread. It's very soft, it's very lovely to work with, and if you want it to blend in more with your wool, the wool thread does that. This one, just another little heart stitched down with a button. Here I went a little crazy, and I wrote love with some crosses. This one isn't attached to my hanger. It's another one I made, and I wrote love again, just with a back stitch. And if you want to mark your wool, I'll show you some things I did. Most of the time I just freehand it, but sometimes you need to mark something. So there's a few tools that work better than others. Let me get some stuff out here. I have one of these chalk writer tools. It's got the little wheel on it so that when you draw a line, the chalk comes out on the little wheel and makes a line. So you can write on your wool that way or mark a line. It doesn't work great, but it works okay if that's what you have. Another thing you can do if you just have a white pencil, this is it's really just a white colored pencil. That's all it is. Some, a lot of people for their sewing have these, but it's, even if you just have a white pencil. And you can also mark on your wool with that. It takes a few backs and forths, and if you were on a harder surface, it works better, but that works okay. If you've got kids around and you just have some regular chalk, that works too. You can do that. This is my favorite though. This is this chalk marker, and it's liquid chalk. So it's kind of like a marker. So see how easily that writes on there, and it comes out a liquid, but it dries like chalk, and you can just brush it away. I just freehanded. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just doing some primitive stitching on it. Don't worry about it. So mine's not perfect. Show more love when it's not perfect. Okay, where are we? Okay, so we've got our things marked. If you want to stitch some words, or this one, I did a little heart, and so I took one of the paper here. After you've pulled off your paper template, then you can use it to trace around. Or you can just take another heart. So just put another heart down there and trace around it. Like this. Put this other heart down here as a template. And you can just trace around there. You don't even need to draw a solid line, just some little dots. And then you've got an outline so that you can do some other stitching. And what I did here was I just did a little, can you see, there's a little white basting stitch. So I made a little basting stitch with the white pearl cotton, and then I used this pink pearl cotton and just wove it in and out of there. So it's cute. You don't have to worry about having a perfectly straight line when you're making it wonky anyway. Hey. My hearts are all just on one string of pearl cotton that I just fed through all of them after I got them done, and they're not adhered in any one spot. They're movable. You can spread them apart, move them up and down. And then I just made a little kind of tassel out of buttons. Just whatever I had in my button box. Just decorate it with whatever stuff you got laying around. It's pretty cute though. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it was a lot of fun to make, and I'm hoping that anybody can handle this project. Okay, what else do we need to do? Oh, okay, so I don't want you to miss out on getting a discount on my website this month. So our coupon code has been the same all month. I wrote this backwards so that you can see it. So it's live April 20, site-wide, 20% off on everything. Last time we did this, we had a free pattern download, so that's still there. See? I'll look for it. It's got to be around here somewhere. If you didn't see that, I don't know where it is. Oh well, this place is a mess. That's still there. If you want to get that free pattern download, that's still available. Otherwise, use that coupon code until the end of the month and get 20% off. And hopefully I will see you again next week. We'll come up with another project to do. Maybe we will do some silk ribbon embroidery. I did that on this little heart, or who knows. So have a great day. Thanks for joining me. And Isabel, okay, say thanks to your parents, and I'm glad you're doing well, and thanks for joining me. And everybody, have a great day and stay well. Bye.